We are your Gulf Coast Weather Authority and tracking the system that seems to sort of be moving in and already dumping a little bit of rain in the Galveston area.
Yeah, some of the hardest hit areas so far have been the coastal spots. That's where we have the heavy downpours tonight. But I would not let your guard down. Right. We are still in that risk for the potential for some flooding. So we are still on tropical alert. We've got Fox 26 storm alert night tomorrow, a Fox 26 storm alert day. Still the threat for that heavy rain, that high flood risk, especially south of Interstate 10, and also the potential for a lot of wind and the risk for those rip currents for our beaches. So definitely not the time to plan a beach trip over the next 24 to 36 hours. Here's the reason why our weather will stay a little unsettled. We're still tracking potential Tropical Cyclone One in the southwestern Gulf of Mexico. Still a fairly weak and disorganized storm, but it is large, and most of that wind and heavy rain well to the north of that broad center of circulation. So it is tracking off to the north-northwest around 6 miles per hour, 40-mile-per-hour winds, and still expected to reach the northeastern Mexican coast by tomorrow night, making landfall. So even though we're far away from that system, we've got tropical storm warnings basically extending from around the Galveston area all the way down to Corpus Christi and Brownsville, mainly for that threat for strong wind over 40 miles per hour and for some heavy downpours. Speaking of heavy downpours, we've got the rain rolling into some of our coastal spots. League City, Galveston, Lake Jackson, Bay City have been getting some of those tropical downpours over the last hour or two, and we still have this flood watch that we're going to have to deal with through early Thursday morning. Houston no longer in the flood watch, but notice south of Houston, mainly our coastal spots, still dealing with that increased risk for that flooding. Also, we've got a coastal flood warning in place through 7 a.m. Thursday, where we are expecting some of those streets to potentially get inundated with water. We've already seen a little bit of that for parts of the coast, and we could have that storm surge around 2 to 4 feet before this system starts to move away from us later this week. So it is going to be wet, it's going to be windy, and yes, there will be the risk for flooding. It looks like the worst of that weather will remain down along the coast. Speaking of wind, I just saw this update. 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts at this point in Galveston. So that is where we have a lot of that wind whipping folks around. Hopefully not a lot of people out in this, but we do have a wind advisory for our coastal spots all the way through Thursday morning. So here's what you can expect over the next few days. We do have the potential for our Tropical Cyclone number 1 to become our first tropical storm of the season. Alberto, rounds of heavy rain are still going to be likely for some of you tonight and tomorrow, especially close to the coast. So coastal spots will be the hardest hit, likely with high surf, rip currents, and coastal flooding, and maybe a few flooded streets developing farther inland. So this system will stay well to our south, but impacts will be felt far away from that center. Flood risk through Mexico and for much of the Texas Gulf Coast. So at this point, it looks like Houston will escape the worst of the weather, but we could still pick up some rain that could lead to a few flooded streets. But I think the worst of it down around Galveston tomorrow, other coastal spots. Temps are going to be in the 80s, but look for coastal flooding, those gusts near 40 miles per hour. And yes, that rip current risk will remain high. So swimming plans for Galveston Beach, not a good idea for the next few days. We are still in that elevated risk for flash flooding as well, that 2 out of 4 risk for Houston, but the rain totals have decreased. In fact, Houston in that 1 to 4 inch range, and 4 to 7 inch totals expected to be to the south and west of Houston. So that is a little bit of good news, but still down around El Campo, Bay City, and Wharton, there will be the potential for some flooding. So certainly just be careful out there, avoid flooded streets, and keep checking back with us. We do still have that risk for flooding, especially down to the south.